Today, I begin by acknowledging the contribution of our forefathers who have helped in creating a world based on freedom and human dignity. I extend my respect to people of diverse culture, faith, color, and gender, and pledge to work for equity, inclusivity, peace, and harmony. A very good morning to one and all present here. I, Ayush Sharma, a first year student of DME Media School, welcome you to the fifth edition of World's first 7-day hybrid international media conference, ICAN5. This year, conference is organized by two different continents. The International Media Conference ICAN5 is being organized by DME Media School of Delhi Metropolitan Education in collaboration with the School of Communication and Creative Arts, Deakin University, Melbourne, Australia. I would like to take a moment and introduce Delhi Metropolitan to our viewers. Delhi Metropolitan Education is an A-grade premier educational institute affiliated with Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University, New Delhi, and approved by the Bar Council of India. The institute offers BBA, BLLB, BBALB, and BGMC programs. DME believes in imparting world-class education to its students while training them to develop and enhance their skills. This education and training enable them in taking up challenges of the industry and creating a space for themselves with their competence and vigor. DME Media School is one of the most promising in media institute in the country. It offers BA in journalism and mass communication. It is recognized as a school focused on the growth of its faculty and students through academic and co-curricular activities. Major flagship events and initiatives of the school include BG Vargas Lecture Series, Peer-to-Peer FTP, International Film Festival SIFI, International Conference ICANN, and Ritika, Convention of Media Student. And newly added to the list is VIS, Vibrant India Series. ICANN 5 has come up with the theme Inclusivity, Convergence, and Alternate Negotiation with the hashtag Communication for All. ICANN 5 has the support of 17 partners, including INCR Gender Section GMAC, Global Media and Education Council as the conference partner. We have our knowledge partners, Makhanlal Chaturvedi University, Bhopal, Vigyan Prasar, Government of India, and KSF, Keshav Suri Foundation. For ICANN 5, international partners are Institute for International Journalism, Ohio University, USA, Green University, Bangladesh, Daffodil International University, Bangladesh. For ICANN 5, cultural partner are Beacon House National University, Pakistan. Media partners for ICANN 5 are Amar Ujala, The Policy Times, Jai Hind Times, and the Hindi Post. ICANN 5 is powered by Asian Media and Cultural Studies Network, Australia. Australia, India Film Practitioners and Researchers Network, SPARC, the Student Council of DME Media School, and REM, Research and Innovation in Media, Research Cell of DME. The conference is supported by NOTO, National Organ and Tissue Transplant Organization, since 2018. DME Media School is organizing the international conference ICANN. The themes for the former editions were ICANN 1, India and Changing Aspects of News, ICANN 2, Indian Cinema and Alternate Networks, ICANN 3, Issues of Community, Agenda and News with the hashtag Conference for Change, ICANN 4, Information, Communication and Artificial Network with the hashtag Communication Redefined. ICANN 5 will witness of total 26 sessions, including 18 live sessions, 5 hybrid sessions, and 3 physical sessions. The schedule comprises 10 technical sessions, 2 workshops, 2 master classes, 2 plenary sessions, and 5 panel discussions. Proud to mention here that all 10 technical sessions are being chaired by women scholars representing different states and countries. I'm happy to share that Journalism at the Red DME is the official newsletter of DME Media School. This fortnightly publication covers all the major activities happening in and out of the campus. It is a student-centric newsletter carried out entirely by them under the supervisions of faculty members. DME TV is the official YouTube channel of DME, where you can find the playlist related to all the sessions, lecture series, film festivals, and conferences. It gives me immense pleasure that ICANN 5 will go live on the official Facebook page of DME for various sessions. And for more information, follow us on our social media handles. We are sharing the links in the chat box. I invite Professor Dr. Amrish Saxena, Dean DME Media School, Director of DME Studios and Production, and convener of ICAN5 to give his opening remarks for the session and highlight the theme of today's technical session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Ayush. I begin today by acknowledging the contribution of our forefathers who have helped in creating a world based on freedom and human dignity. I extend my respect to people of diverse culture, faith, color, and gender, and pledge to work for equity, inclusivity, peace, and harmony. I welcome everybody on the fourth day of ICAN5. We started on last Friday, and since then, all kind of sessions have been happening as part of this academic endeavor, be it plenary sessions or panel discussions or master classes or workshops. And obviously, the foremost thing is the technical sessions, because this provides a platform to researchers, to educators to come over and to make their presentations, which leads to academic discourses, and which is in fact should be the focus of any conference, that all such kind deliberations and discussions happen. And this is the fifth technical session in this conference, which is on social media, image building, and influencer marketing. And as we know that the theme of this year's conference is inclusivity, convergence, and alternative negotiations. But in any case, inclusivity is in the focus, and we have tried to do so many things to connect to this theme with our audience, and that is how we have tried to, as Ayush just now told everybody, to incorporate women scholars from different parts of India and other parts of the world to chair the sessions. Last year also in ICAN4 also we started this practice, but that time all the scholars were from India only, and this time we tried to approach the scholars from other countries, and many of them readily accepted our request. Another thing that we have tried to do, we have tried to reach out our neighbors in the Indian subcontinent, and this is the first conference of its kind, wherein all three countries are participating, India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. Two universities of Bangladesh have become part of the conference, and scholars are joining in different sessions.
Okay, Ayush, carry on.
Thank you, sir. The theme for today's technical session is the of social youth, image building, and influencer marketing. And now I would like to welcome our expert for today's technical session, Dr. Yasmeen Sultana Farooqui. Ma'am has a very sound portfolio, from being the HOD of different universities to being the governing body member of different literary organizations and editorial member, board member of different research journals, and launched research journals in different universities. All that can be expected from a good media department in this individual. Graduated in science major and then completed her master's in business administration, but her passion for studying did not stop her at this stage. She then completed her second master's in mass communication from University of Karachi, along with the PhD degree in the same field in 2017. After her master, she stepped into the field of teaching. Along with the teaching in University of Karachi, she has also been associated with a number of prestigious institutions of the city over the years and served as the HOD in some of them, such as Jinnah University for Women, Sindh Madrasal Islam University, ILMA University, etc. She has authored and compiled 4 books and contributed chapters in international publications. She is the editor-in-chief of ILMA University, HEC recognized research journal JMC. She often contributes articles in different national and international research journals. Her article also get published frequently in leading newspaper of the country. She is also the editor of the Anjuman Taraqi, Urdu's prestigious magazine Qaumi Zaban, and associate editor of their HEC recognized Y category journal. Until now, she has organized and chaired 4 international media conferences. Now, I would like to hand over the session to Dr. Manmeet Kaur, Associate Professor and Academic Coordinator at DMA Media School. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ayush. I welcome Dr. Yasmeen. Welcome, ma'am. So, ma'am, shall we start with the presentation? And you will be giving your feedback and remarks after every presentation or end of all presentations.
Sure, and thank you for inviting me in this prestigious conference. I am really thankful to you and the organizers and management of the university and DME Media School.
Thank
Thanks
you
to
so much,
be
ma'am.
the
Thank
part
you.
of this conference.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. So we will be starting with the presentations, and then we will be having your concluding remarks as far as the theme is concerned, and the concluding and the feedback remarks for each and every presentation.
Right.
Okay. Thank you so much,
You're
ma'am.
welcome.
So the first presentation of this technical session is by Miss Riya Malhotra, student of Amity School of Communication, Amity University, Uttar Pradesh, Noida. And the topic of our presentation is role of social media in enhancing spiritual values and spirituality. So Riya Malhotra.
So good morning, everyone. I'm Riya Malhotra from Amity University, Noida. And today my topic is the role of social media in enhancing spiritual values and spirituality. In the last several years, spirituality has acquired the interest of people of all ages. Although the concept of spirituality is centuries old, its rise in popularity in recent years is worth noticing. Social media, on the other hand, is relatively recent phenomenon that will continue to affect the globe till the end of time. Among all the media devices, social media has the greatest impact and reach. Social media is one of the latest trends and platforms that allow people around the world to connect with each other and also share information while getting to know each other. Now, spirituality is thousands of years old, as I mentioned earlier. It is a unique concept along with the spiritual value that, it is widely discussed around the world and has been a concept of fascination for several people. The consideration of spirituality and spiritual values is one of the latest perception where people are focusing on the philosophical perception of spirituality and attending to explore its learning more about it. Now, what is the objective? Objectives are to understand the role of social media in generating a sensation among the users of the social media platform, to link the current situation available for spiritual leaders to use social media as one of the common platforms to spread awareness, to understand generating the value regarding spirituality among the social media users. So, as a large number of people across the world regularly utilize different social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, as we all know, not only Facebook, but other social media platforms as well. So there are some communities and pages present on these platforms that are also a part of the development of a particular trend. So when a page or such a account develop attractive content, people are more likely to watch that content or sometimes follow that. So this activity undertaken by both the users and the pages creates a trend that is followed by the people across the world. Now, literature review. So the review of literature is added according to the content. First is the role of social media in developing trends. So as I mentioned earlier, the social networking sites spread the awareness of a particular thing among people faster than any other media. As people across the world are connected with each other through these platforms, a video or even a particular content does not take much time to become a trend on these platforms. And additionally, like in nowadays, social media also helps senior citizens as well to feel connected to the society. Next is the importance of spirituality and spiritual values. So talking about spiritual values as well as spirituality, these are very necessary for people as it encourages active participation within a community and also help in promoting peace and harmony within a society. They also play a vital role in not only organizing a society in a better way, but also in providing stability as well as mental peace among the people during the work. It has also been recognized that spiritual values can help an individual to improve patience and tolerance, which will be beneficial for that individual while experiencing a challenge or dealing with a complex situation. It is very necessary for people to have a clear understanding of spiritual values, as it can also help in improving both the physical and the mental health of the people. Now, research methodology. The research methodology will be followed by the approach of qualitative data. The secondary data will be acquired through the journals, articles, review articles, published academic papers, statistical database, and historical records. Data analysis. Every individual is a social sensor experiencing and detecting news, and a large number of people around the globe constantly share sentiments, statuses, as well as news through social networking sites. It has been identified that online social interactions like mentions, comments, replies, as well as retweets mainly boost the circulation of information, adjust the mutual attention of the masses, as well as spread various ideas, which mainly result in social media trends. Spiritual values mainly help people to cope up with challenges and also help to improve their well-being and health. It is necessary to describe that the exploring spirituality can perform a major role in finding the meaning and the purpose of life, and in coping with the feelings of anxiety, depression, as well as stress. Moreover, it has been identified that spiritual values and spirituality also help people to restore hope as well as optimism. It has been noticed that spirituality and spiritual activities can help people to deal with and manage everyday stress, and also help older adults to cope with negative feelings and increase positive feelings as well. It is necessary to mention that spiritual values are a personal experience, and the spiritual path of every individual can be unique. It's a more of a personal touch. The conclusion of the paper is that the spirituality and social media are two distinct, like two different concepts. Spirituality exists for thousands of years, and social media was born a few years ago. Spirituality is about finding inner peace and harmony. While these words are not used for social media in any way, but on the other hand, the reach and impact the social media is of enormous, and the need for spirituality is felt by people of all age groups. The paper was an attempt to use the impact of social media to spread the philosophy of spirituality. The paper was an attempt to use the dynamic nature of spirituality to bring peace and harmony in lives of many. It is the positive aspects of social media that can be used to spread spirituality. Spirituality has been found to be very useful in different sectors. Different sectors may use the relevant characteristics of social media to spread spirituality. Few online platforms such as soulspeak.com or speakingtree.in or Isha Foundation are already using these online platforms to spread spirituality. However, the intense need and demands more such players to come into the picture and use social media for the same. Now, talking about the limitations of this research, first limitation is that there was unlimited information available on the internet. There's unlimited information like regarding the topic, and due to this, it was very difficult to provide accurate data about the topic. Second limitation was that it was time consuming, as there were different articles, different journals, different papers, and different work given by the different authors. And the next limitation was that there were different perspectives of different authors related to spirituality, spiritual values, and social media. So yeah, thank you. I think there is some problem that I'm facing with the laptop right now. I'm not able to stop my screen share.
Okay. Yasmeen ma'am, any questions?
Yeah. First of all, I want to congratulate Ms. Riya Malhotra for picking up this very interesting and very different and unique topic for her research. It was really a very interesting paper. I really like it. But I want to ask one thing, Riya, that
Yes,
you have said that it was very difficult to, I mean, what should I say? To give the accurate answer because of a lot of information regarding spirituality. So
yes, ma'am.
how did you find your research, and can you please tell me the number of papers and pages of social media you selected for your research?
Ma'am, actually, there was no particular number that I've selected, like the different social media platforms. I was mainly focusing on Facebook and Instagram because the older generation is now like more active and more connected to the society through Facebook. And talking about our generation, it is more towards Instagram. So as you asked about the time, like different perspectives. So it was like that some authors are saying that, you have to avoid social media, or you need to avoid social media completely to grow spiritually. Whereas the other authors are saying that you need to limit the use of social media, but you also have to focus on spirituality and, enhancing your spiritual growth. And whereas there are other authors as well who are actually, helping the this thought that that social media is actually helpful in increasing the awareness about the spiritual values and spirituality, and how the spiritual leaders are actually connecting with the audience through social media. So there were three different perspectives, but as the topic is the role of social media in enhancing spiritual values and spirituality,
So you support this topic. You support
Yes,
that social media is really enhancing the spirituality in the masses.
Yes ma'am, because it also has like related to my personal experience, and so I kind of like more towards that particular point.
Good. Nicely done, Ria.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ria. Thank you. It was a good presentation. I'm calling the next presenter of this technical session, Uruba Husnain Ansari, a student of Amity School of Communication, Amity University, Noida. And the topic of her presentation is Rebellious Communication on Social Media, a case study of Twitter. I request Vanshika to please check with your presentation as well as be ready with your presentation, because you will be the next presenter after Uruba. Vanshika Kohli. Yes, Uruba, you may start now.
Good morning. My name is Uruba Husnain Ansari. I'm a student of Amity University, Noida, and my topic is rebellious communication on social media, a case study of Twitter. So as we all know that the growing trolls on Twitter has been really submissive to people involved and to even celebrities, that they are facing a lot of emotional connect to trolls, and they are even being trolled for their personal life experiences. If somebody is having a breakup, so that has been trolling on Twitter, so which is causing a lot of personal issues to their personal life, and it is not hampering them in a good way. It is actually causing them depression and anxiety, which is not right for the society. So as for the introduction, I would like to explain what is rebellious communication. Rebellious communication is actually a part of radical media and radical communication, which involves people, a group of people who are trolling and who are negative about every fact that has been posted on Twitter, or every fact that has been posted on social media content, which is actually not right, because you are getting involved in somebody's personal life, which is not right for you to say. And there's no barrier. They have crossed all limits to troll people, and which is actually very disconnecting from the social media. Many people have also deactivated their accounts in the past years, and they have left social media to let it be. So this is not right on part of a rebellious group to actually put one to face something like this. So the objectives that I took was the impact of rebellious communication on social media. That's the main objective of the study. And the second was the impact which is making on the minds of the audience and on the people who are connected to that troll or to that communication barrier that they are facing. The study of Twitter trolls on social media, I've taken Twitter as one of the main components, because that's the highly trolled platform where you can see a different series of trolling going on with different celebrities. And even just if you make a dot change on your Twitter tweets, that will be a troll for in a negative way, not in a positive way, but in a negative way. The literature review. So as you've seen Twitter, and it's not just now, it's been following from past many years, that Twitter has been going on with the trolls and with the negativity that has been. There are positivity as well, but the negativity has hampered the behavior and made so many rebellious groups in the Twitter platform, that many people don't know whom to talk and whom not to talk, whom to reply and who's told to avoid. So this has been a study where you have been facing in all your life, even not on social media, but in your personal life also. When you were in school days, people bully you. So that is also a negative rebellious communication that you have been facing. Many students, many kids, they go into depression because of this. They try to commit suicide. So this has been a very vast thing in India, especially, that people are hanging themselves and people are committing suicide, which is not right for the society, and which is actually giving an impact of the society in a negative way. So research methodology that I've used is qualitative and quantitative data. And quantitative data were collected through a survey method that I circulated amongst the people. And quantitative data was collected through research methods and research papers of the students. And there is a particular book through which I took this research, that is rebel groups and rebel media, radical media on social media. So this book has actually given me a lot of information about this topic, as it's the only book that has the entire information about radical media and communication. It has been really helpful in data collection as well. So as I told you about Twitter, so I would like to give a recent example of Amitabh Bachchan. He actually corrected his Twitter series number, and he was trolled for that. So that is how minute details also being trolled on social media towards negativity has been impacting the behavior and impacting the celebrity life and even the basic human people. So this has been really minute details. So as you know, the social media has been a wide range and it spreads very quickly. So the minute changes of just correcting a series number has taken a toll to around 30 to 40 tweets after that, and which is actually not good, because people make mistakes. Until they don't make mistake, they won't learn. So just correcting a series or number, it had been trolled for his lifestyle and for his commenting. So the data collection and the responses that I got, there were few questions that I asked in my research paper. Two of them I have mentioned over here. The political and rebel on social media has grown tremendously. So I would like to link rebellious communication to political views, because politics is something which has actually taken a toll, and it has actually hampered people to get into a negative way than on positive way. People are taking politics like, I have if you're even crossing a road and somebody is there, and traffic police stops you for something, so they just say that my father is this, which is not right. And that is how the trolling has been taking place over social media as well as in real life. The second question that I put was, does rebellious communication happen on social media and how impacted it is? So in that also, many people, they said that social media have been one of the main platform where rebellious communication is actually seen. After many policies of not using slang languages and everything, still there is rebellious communication on social media, which is actually impacting in a bad way to the society. So the conclusion of this paper was that after studying from research papers and after doing research myself, many people are aware of this topic and many people have faced it in their daily life, in their school days, on social media. Even if we as a human, we post something on our Instagram or Twitter, we are asked about it. Why not let people be free than to ask and then to make embarrassed if there have been any mistake or anything? So that has been a really crux of this paper, how negative it has impacted to the people and how positive it should be. So the limitations that I faced was, like, when I was doing my research, when I circulated the survey, many of them were actually not even aware of this topic. And most of them were aware, and there were age groups, like how many age group people faced what. So the most people who were around 30 to 40s faced a lot of rebellious communication and trolls. And it is very sad to see that old age people, old adults of the society have faced such a thing. And most after the age group of 30 to 40, many people were there which were adults and kids that face this problem. So it is actually very hampering for the kids to for their mental health and for their well-being, that they are facing such an issue and they are not able to talk about it. So the references are this. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruba. It was very interesting and very relevant paper regarding the situation we are facing right now. So I must say that it is very difficult to conduct research on the sensitive topics like this, and it's really a very quite a difficult research. When we talk about mental health and well-being of people, it is very difficult to carry out research on this sensitive topic, and you have done it in a very good manner. You have read a book related to it and done conducted survey research, and through questionnaires. I was watching that you used Likert scale in your. How many questions were there in your questionnaire, and how many questionnaires were distributed, and who were your respondents? I mean, age group.
So my questions, there were a total of 15 questions in the questionnaire. The questionnaire was distributed around to 150 to 200 people.
Okay.
And the age group of the questionnaire was starting from 18 above. So 18 is a very critical age for a student. So I took that age because then people actually take up their stand and they like to talk about it and like to get awareness about some things. So 18, I started with the thing, 18 to 25, 25 to 30, 30 to 40 and above.
You have taken the sample from all age groups,
Yes.
adults,
Yes.
between adults.
Yes.
And in which city?
It was actually, I was in Noida itself, but the contacts that I had, it was from Varanasi, Delhi, Bombay, and from
Among different cities of India.
yeah, different cities of India.
Okay, big cities of India.
Yes, ma'am.
Shabash, very good.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruba. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
The next presentation of this technical session is by Vanshika Kohli, student Amity School of Communication from Noida. And the topic of the presentation is social media's effect on teenage relationships.
Good morning, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, Vanshika, you are audible, but we cannot see you.
Good morning, everyone. I am Vanshika Kohli from Amity University, Noida. So the topic for my research was social media's effects on teenage relationships. Now, as we start, social media is a platform that we all use nowadays, be it teenagers, be it the youth, or be it elderly people as well. So social media is one of the biggest platforms to connect with people around the globe. And it is not a new tool. We have seen social media growing from our teenage as well, from when we were 13 and even before that. Now, social media is a huge force in the lives of young people, especially teenagers, with wide-ranging effects on their development. So, given the importance of adolescents and their mental health and their mental illness, social media is a factor that affects young people's mental illness and mental health. And by young people herein, I mean more of teenagers, because they are at the age where they can be molded by things where they do not know what exactly is right for them or what is wrong for them. So my objectives of the study were to study the effect of social media on teenagers, to study how social media plays an important role in teenage relationships, to study teenage emotions and feelings, to study the influence of social media on teenage emotions. These are the topics for my literature review: social media, teenage relationships, teenage emotions, social media as a bane for teenagers, and virtues of social media. Now, social media, as we all know, it is a term used for collective websites that enable communication, community-based input, interactions around the globe, content creation, and collaboration. So the initial purpose of social media was to act as a source of communication between friends and family, wherein we used to connect with our friends from all across the globe, our family all across the globe. But later, like let's say 5 years down the line, we have seen businesses using social media for reaching out to their potential customers, and it has given a significant rise in number to entrepreneurs as well. Like a lot of people have started their small businesses selling products, and we also see content creation as a growing platform, and a lot of teenagers and youth using social media as a business tool. Now, the population that majorly uses social media platforms are teenagers, as they create their profiles and display their lifestyle by posting. Now, the majorly used platform, as given in the survey ahead, will that was Instagram. Now, Instagram is a platform wherein you post your daily lifestyle, wherein you post pictures of what you're doing, of how you want to be, and inspire others. And now we've also seen that it is an ever changing and ever evolving domain, with new applications like TikTok, Clubhouse, House Party coming every year. So there is a transformation in the kind of social media platforms we use as well. Now, talking about teenage relationships, teenage years are people ranging between 13 and 19. This is the age where we are most fragile and we start to see the world from, our own perspective. And at this age, the relationships that matter the most are friendships. We definitely rebel from our parents, and we think that whatever they're saying is not up to date, they do not match our generation. So our relationships with our friends, that grows. So the bond that we have with our friend, it grows, and we start to get influenced by what our friends are doing. Now, the relationships with our friends, family, teachers, and romantic partners, all of these relationships at any given age, they affect our mental health and well-being. So now, if the teenagers have a positive vibe from the relationships and they feel that they are acknowledged and they are respected and they are seen, so it reflects in a self-confident self. And if they feel negativity, which is the opposite, within any of these relationships, it could be your parental relationship, it could be your friends, or even your teachers at times, it tends to result in self-doubt, and you are unable to control your emotions. You start feeling things in a negative way, and you start to act in a certain way. Now, if we talk about teenage emotions, teenagers go through an emotional roller coaster, because at this point of time we experience extreme happiness to extreme sadness also within a minute as well. For instance, if a person is really happy seeing whatever they have done in a day and they see some other person's story on social media, we might start to feel, okay, I have missed out on this. So that is why this is an age where we are easily influenced, where we are not able to choose what's right for our own good, or what benefit a certain thing can provide us and what cons it can have. So the use of social media in the 21st century also plays a major role in teenagers' life, and it affects their emotions highly. So some emotions that are triggered due to overuse or wrong usage, I'd say, of social media is anxiety, depression, and fear of missing out. We see that these days, young adults and teenagers, a lot of them are having anxiety issues, a lot of them are in depression. And what I feel is that the major reason is social media, which even there's another thing that if I am an influencer, whatever I'm showcasing on my Instagram account, my Facebook account, or YouTube, that might not be true as well, but it might influence hundreds of others. Some might take it positively that, okay, I want to reach this platform. Some might get inspired that, okay, I also want to do this. Some might feel the opposite way. Some might feel that, okay, if she is doing it, why is she doing it? Why do not I? Why am I not there at that platform? So all of this compiles in, triggering the emotions of teenagers. Now social media is a bane for teenagers. Over usage, or again I'd say wrong usage, because it is on us to control how and what we use and how we take forward the learnings from it. So social media sites are associated with an expansion of mental health problems like depression, anxiety, loneliness. Excessive time spent through scrolling through social media can result in symptoms of anxiety or depression. And social networking buff constantly analyzes social media feed, or it always has an eye on your feed, so people are always looking out for what you're doing. And even us, if we are going out for a cafe, the major attraction or the major thing in the mind of teenagers these days is to post pictures and videos to showcase what they're doing. The virtues of social media are building communities, holding up a conversation, which is connecting with your friends and family, staying up to date with current world events. So as soon as something happens, even if it's not on the news these days, we see that, we see it on social media in a minute. A positive outlook on life. If we see on the other side, there are people inspiring each other. There are people who are getting inspired to, build a lifestyle for their own selves. And there are influencers who talk about anxiety, who talk about depression, and they give you ways, they suggest you ways to come out of it.
Vanshika, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Last 2 minutes.
Yes, ma'am. Giving a voice to people, staying creative, spreading awareness, education, job opportunities, and online business. Now, the research methodology that I used was qualitative as well as quantitative. I used a questionnaire. So these are the questions, wherein the questions that were majorly asked were that if social media affects your life, wherein a lot of people felt, a majority of people felt that yes. Social media also helps express one's true self. So most of the people did not feel so. Social media can affect your emotions. Then social media has an impact on your relationships. It triggers your anxiety or emotions. It acts as a boon. And the last question that was asked was, what is the major purpose according to people for using social media? Wherein most of the people said it is entertainment. Now, the conclusion is that as per the observation and the survey conducted, it is evident that social media plays a major role in lives of people these days. And even it influences their day-to-day lifestyle. For example, if I'm seeing that, okay, so this person went to an event yesterday, or this person has bought this vegetable, or this person is eating this kind of food, I'd want to go for it too the next day. Social media can also have a major impact on our relationships, because as it affects our emotions, that affects our relationships as well. So if I am not feeling good, I might not talk to my friends the way I usually do. Or if I am really happy, I'd willingly talk to my friends. So social media platforms can also help express your true self, which might not be easy in real lives, because at times we are not as confident. Some people are not as confident on in the real lives as they are on social media, because therein you do not have to showcase your faces. And we see a lot of unusual talent also coming up due to this. And social media has provided teenagers with a platform to create content. Nowadays we see reels, we see videos, we see teenagers or young adults turning into entrepreneurs as they turning into entrepreneurs as they open up their own small businesses. And social media can also be beneficial for the purpose of entertainment. infotainment as well as, if you're not seeing the news or if something's not on the news, you get to see something, and you also get to see, different points of view of things. So the limitations of my research were that geographic limitation, that the survey was conducted only in Delhi, Gurgaon, and Noida, and the respondents were around 150 to 200, which is less to cover an entire topic. And the age that was the most of the responses were from teenagers and young adults ranging between the ages of 18 to 24. And in a rapidly changing world, people might feel differently and things might change really quickly. Thank you.
Very good, Vanshika. It was really a very good paper and very important paper. It is in today's world, it's a very important topic when we see the behavior and behavioral changes in teens. So we always talk about the social media's role in a teen's life. So when they, obviously social media allows teenagers or youngsters to communicate with others. They provide a platform to encounter with the other parts of the world. So they are very ambitious and want to know so many things in their life. So for that, they use, without knowing the hazardous effect of social media, they, what should I say? They don't know the negative aspects of the social media, and they are allowed. It's really the when we talk about the social media and teenagers, social media's role in teenagers' life. So it is the role of parents which comes, and they have to see the activities of their children and teens, what they are doing on social media. So you have taken out a very good topic, and you conducted a good research. It was really a very well articulated paper, and you have done, conducted a very good survey, it's really a tender age of 13 and 19. I think you have taken the sample of between 13 and 19, right?
Yes, ma'am. Mostly,
you just conducted a research on the base of survey, or you did some sort of qualitative type
qualitative research as well, ma'am.
Have you conducted interviews?
Not interviews, but I did talk to my friends casually. Not a proper interview, but what are their views on this?
But one thing which is important in a teenage role of social media in teens' life, that they really, it is very easy for them to collect information and other important information of their studies or other things. So I think it was a very good paper and well conducted.
Thank you. Thank you.
Actually, at that time, a phone came, so I didn't listen all the papers. That is why.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Vanshika. So the next presenter of this technical session is Dr. Sumedha, and the topic of her presentation is Twitter as a public relations tool and analysis of tweets of top companies of India.
Good morning, everyone. The topic of my presentation is Twitter as a public relations tool and analysis of tweets of top companies of India. So we all know that public relations professionals have always tried to keep themselves abreast with all latest technologies. They have already well explored the traditional media like the print media or the television, but now they are appropriately adopting to the newer technologies, which includes the social media. And in social media, I'm taking Twitter for my study because Twitter's motto is to empower all by giving them freedom to express. There is a character limitation, which is of 280 characters. Users can upload their text, their content, they can retweet, they can reply, and they can even check the statuses, their read status in their own pages. So now, at present time, organizations are also using Twitter pages for active publicity, and that is why I have tried to study how these organizations are attempting to reach their audiences through Twitter. For understanding my study, I have used Grudek's and Hunt's 4 model of public relations. This include he divided Grunigs and Hunt divided the public relations model as press agentry model, public information model, two-way asymmetric model, and two-way symmetric model. Talking about the press agentry model, it is like one-way propaganda where the sole purpose is to get as much publicity as possible. So the information which has been disseminated, less emphasis is paid on the correct information. The main agenda is to provide maximum publicity of the organization. Talking about the public information model, it is also one-way model because feedback doesn't enter here, but here truth is emphasized in public information model. The model is based on an honest approach to communications. Now, this is the third model which Grunig and Hunt talks about, which is two-way asymmetric model. In this model, feedback enters the process and the organization try to convince the public in a scientific manner, they have a proper strategy to reach their audiences. Now they are not directly using advertising techniques to reach their audiences. Also, I would also like to highlight here that two-way asymmetric model is basically short-term, and when we come to two-way symmetric model, long-term relationships are emphasized on. Here, two-way symmetric model, feedback is also a very important part in two-way symmetric model, and every attempt is made for understanding each other's point of view. So the objective of my study is to understand how Twitter is being used as a tool of public relations by top companies of India. So try to identify how these corporate sectors use Twitter for communicating with public. What is the frequency with which companies are tweeting in their Twitter pages, and also try to understand them in the light of Grunig and Hunt's 4 model of public relations, which I have just elaborated in my previous slides. So for doing my study, I did a content analysis. I choose 1 week duration from June 19 to June 25, 2022. And in this, a total of 459 tweets were analyzed. So these are the list of companies. These are 30 companies. I have taken these companies from ET top 500 list of companies, and these are the top 30 companies in the ET 500 list. So these lists include Reliance, State Bank, NTPC, Ultratech Cement, to name a few. Rest is every company is being pointed out in this. So these are total 30 companies which are being studied in my research. I also tried to, point out the total maximum followers and minimum followers. I identified that State Bank of India had maximum followers, which is 4.4 million followers, and IOCL had 3 lakh followers. Minimum followers were from Rajesh Export, which is as less as 721, and Hindalco, which had only 4,088 followers. So also try to point out the maximum tweets in a week. So IOCL posted 70 tweets in 1 week's duration, which is from June 19 to June 25. IOCL posted 70 tweets. HPCL posted 57 tweets. BPCL posted 56 tweets. And SBI posted 23 tweets. These are the maximum ones which I have pointed out. So the minimum number of tweets were as low as 0. Rajesh Exports and Bharti Airtel did not post anything in this week's duration. And then Grasim's Industry, SBI Life Insurance had only 2 posts in this 1 week duration, and ICICI Prudential had 5 posts. Then I identified that the content in these tweets have been presented in a variety of form, which includes text, only text, images, text plus a combination of text and images, a combination of text and video, and only text, and sometimes text plus images with links as well. But text plus image is the most used method of posting information. Talking about the language and the content, English is the most predominantly used language in the content. Hindi is also being used in the content, but it is only 25 tweets in this out of the 459 tweets that I analyzed. And I also found one tweet in Punjabi.
So Medha ma'am, please conclude.
I'll come to the point, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. I'll come to the main point. So, ma'am, this is the main point of my model. I had identified that out of the total, 61% tweets were on public information model. This was the model which was widely used by public relation professionals in their tweet practices. And a public information model is followed by the press agentry model. Basically, their tweets were just publicizing about their product, services. I'll quickly come to the conclusion as well. Ma'am, I want to show you this because this will give you an idea. These two are the screenshots. One is from State Bank of India and one is from the Reliance Industries. So if you look at the screenshot of State Bank of India, you will find that this is looking like an ad. And that is why I have put it in the category of press agentry model. Similarly, the screenshot of Reliance Industries Limited is only trying to get popularity about its network. That is how I've taken it under press agentry model. Then for public information model, I have given screenshots of tweets which are informing the public. There is no agenda on the publicity of the organization. The idea is to just inform the public about some event or happening in the organization or something which is related to the organization or maybe not related as well, but the sole idea is giving information. Similarly, there are screenshots for two-way asymmetric model and then two-way symmetric model. So if you look at the two-way symmetric model, you will find out that the organizations are trying to emphasize on relationship building through their tweets. I'll quickly come to the conclusion, ma'am. So a total of 459 tweets were examined for my study, and which witnessed a total of 22,642 retweets, and there were 135,727 likes from the public. So, and there were total 1,079 hashtags used, and 450 times @ were mentioned in these two tweets, and total of 4,460 comments were made, which is very less comparative to the total number of likes. Also, I identified that out of total tweets, 127 posts were retweets and 4 tweets were shared posts. And the most important finding was that the public information model has been extensively used, followed by the press agentry model by the public relation professionals on these organizations. Thank you, ma'am. And the limitation of my study was time limitation, and there was humongous data, large data. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Sorry, I forgot your name.
My name is Sumita Dasmana, ma'am.
Sumita. Dr. Sumita Dasmana.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Dr. Sumita, it was really a very good paper, and I was observing the statistics you have done. I mean, total 500 tweets you have taken.
459 right? Tweets were there.
Yeah.
Yes.
459 tweets and 1 month of June. And then 500 list from the list of 500 companies, you have taken 30 companies.
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
So
yes,
it was a very good and very, appropriate number of numbers you have collected, and you have done it according to the growing and high model. It, it is very. You have done a lot of efforts. You put in your efforts to carry out a very good research. So I'm very happy to see your paper. It is very trendy and very good, because right now, nowadays, tweets are gives you a deeper insight, and companies use to promote their brands. And yes, it's now a new fashion, and old fashion has been gone. So these are the new topics for research, and you did it in a very good manner. Thanks.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thanks a lot.
Well,
Thank you, Sumedha ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
So the next presentation by Dr. Ankit Kumar Singh, Assistant Professor, Amity University, Jaipur. And the topic of his presentation is Women in Sports Journalism, Breaking the Glass Ceiling.
Very good morning to all the distinguished panelists. Actually, my presentation was scheduled on Saturday, but due to some work, I was not able to do it. So I will quickly go through the topic. I don't have any PPT. I will just read out from the paper that I have written, but I will be skipping some of the parts. So this is the, I hope the screen is visible. The topic, the title of my paper is Women in Sports Journalism, Breaking the Glass Ceiling. And this is more of a, the paper is more of an observational paper, because till 2 years ago, I was a practicing journalist, and I have been covering sports for different media outlets. I was working with Hindustan Times. So this paper is based on the observation I had, and I also talked to some female sports reporter with whom I had worked. So I will begin by introducing this topic. So for all the talk about gender equality, men have continued to dominate professional sports for years. Though in principle, men and women are considered equal in every sporting discipline, there are only a few sports where the two genders have a similar status in terms of popularity and remuneration. Tennis is one discipline where, following Wimbledon's decision to ensure equal payment to male and female participants in 2007, both genders receive the same amount of prize money in all the four Grand Slams. Uh, Tennis is an aberration, though. Tennis is the only sport where we get equal, both male and women athletes get equal prize money. In other popular sports like football and cricket, there is a daylight between the male and female players in terms of fan following and economic benefits. The 2018 edition of Men's FIFA World Cup in Russia was watched by 3.572 billion people worldwide. In comparison, 1.12 billion people watched the Women's FIFA World Cup in 2019. The prize money for the Men's Football World Cup winner was $38 million, while for Women's Champion it stood at $4 million. While male football stars are among the most followed personalities on social media platforms, hardly anyone knows female footballers outside their countries. Now, if we talk of Indian perspective, this gender disparity is even more palpable in India. I would like to take the example of cricket, because in India, while an international male cricketer from the lowest level grade contract gets ₹1 crore annually, whereas a top female cricketer takes home only ₹50 lakh. Now, the BCCI, the Board of Control for Cricket in India, they have divided cricketers into various grades. So, male cricketers with grade A plus contract receive an annual fee of ₹7 crore. So 7 crore is the amount one top male cricketer takes home. But in comparison, a female cricketer is getting only 50 lakh. Though in recent times, women's cricket has developed some following, there are only a handful of female cricketers whom people outside the cricket fraternity can recognize. But in Australia, the Cricket Australia, recently they have started paying equal amount of remuneration to both male and female cricketers. But CA is the only exception as far as the cricketing field is concerned. Now, female athletes are not alone in playing second fiddle to their male counterparts in the field of sports. The case of female sports journalists is no different either. Despite a growing number of women in professional sports, when it comes to women writing about sports, the number has always been quite low. According to a study conducted by the prestigious British newspaper The Guardian, a few years ago, it was found that only 1.8% of sports articles were written by women in England. Though such studies have not been conducted in other countries, the figure is unlikely to change with the change of geographical location. That the instances of women serving as a sports editor of major newspapers. Now let me give you a bit of historical uh, perspective, or as to how the participation of women in sports journalism has changed over the years. So there is hardly any chronological documentation of women's involvement in sports journalism. It is believed that sports developed as a separate beat in the newspapers post the First World War. However, until the 1960s, female reporters were a rare sight in the press box across the world. A few female sports casters had called the game to grow. In India, though, it was not before the late 80s when female journalists started to make their presence felt in the press box. Sharda Agra, I think many of you must have heard her name. She served as the editor of Cricinfo, and she's one of the most renowned female sports journalists in India. So, who is regarded as one of the country's first female journalists. I'm quoting her from one of her interviews with the News Minute. Sharda says, "You are going to cover an event and you are the only woman there. So you feel like you are carrying the entire burden of womanhood on your shoulders. When you step into a press box, you feel like you will either ask a stupid question or behave stupidly, or you will be unprofessional. So you had to sort of make up for all these imagined responsibilities that you carried with you. I literally tried being as invisible as possible," Ubra had said in an interview with the News Minute. During these years, women also found themselves at the receiving end of mental bullying from male scribes. Ubra further says, "The problem or the resentment was not from athletes or officials or people who were associated with the sport part of it. It
Sorry
was
to
the
interrupt you, sir, but please conclude till 10:55.
Okay, I will finish it, and after that I will go straight away to conclusion. So I'm I was just quoting her to underline the kind of challenges women have faced in sports journalism. Uh, there is another problem that we need to highlight, is that there were no ladies toilet at stadiums. So that was another challenge, and Ubra had talked about it in her interview as well. You can, this paper must be with all of you, so you can read it in detail. But in recent year, things have changed, because now the more and more number of young girls are joining sports journalism. So because of this, uh, now when you visit press box, you come across many female faces in sports box. I talked to a young journalist, and this was her opinion. "My life has been great as a professional sports journalist. I have never faced discrimination from anyone during my career. Even top cricketers address me as ma'am. I'm never afraid of asking anyone anything. And of course, these days, there are all facilities for female reporters in every stadium," said Mandakini Shalia, who is part of Times of India's sports desk in Jaipur. Now, I have profiled some of the trailblazers, the female sports journalism who carved a niche for themselves in the field, and they also set the platform for others to join the field. So in these, there are some Indian names also, like Kadambari Murli. She was the first female sports editor of Hindustan Times. Sharda Ugra also I have profiled. Then we have Mayanti Langar. She's a very popular face on television. Melinda Farrell from Australia. uh, I would just end by reading one paragraph from my conclusion. The challenging times for female sports journalists seem to be over now. As stated by young Mandakini above, female sports journalists of today don't face the kind of problems that their seniors had to undergo in the past. With the work environment becoming more conducive to women, their representation in sports journalism is only expected to grow. With an increase in the women workforce in the field, there is bound to be more instances of female sports journalists reaching the top and heading the sports desk. Achhe din for women in sports journalism are in the offing. So thank you.
Thank you, Ankit sir. Thank you. Yasmeen ma'am, any feedback, comments?
Okay, Mr. Ankit, it was a well-drafted research paper. I want to say that okay, nowadays sports broadcasting has become more accessible to everybody, and still we have a distinct minority in women sports journalists. So I want to ask you that you did not tell me about the proper methodology of this paper, and can you please tell me the methodology?
This was, as I said, it was more of an analytical paper based on my own observation, because I was a practicing journalist. So I wrote this paper based on what I observed, and also the interviews with female sports journalists from different media organizations in India. So I talked to 6 female journalists for this interview, and I have quoted them in the paper.
Okay, you said that it is based on your own or your personal observation. So it is
Observation
a
as well as
research paper.
interview.
It is a research paper. So don't you think that you have to, you should talk to others as well to give a very neutral view?
No, I talked to 6 sports journalists. Based on my observation, as well as I have quoted several female journalists throughout this paper. Sharda Ugra, also Mandakini Shalia from Times of India. Interview.
As the topic is concerned, it's a very appropriate topic because female sports journalists are really joining this field. In Pakistan, I can give you the name of Alia Rashid was the only female sports journalist when I was in college or university. Then Afia Salam was a very famous sports journalist in Pakistan. So, okay, nicely done. Thank you.
I will work on a detailed research paper on this topic in future.
Good. Thanks.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ankit sir. Thank you so much. So the last presentation of this session is by Dimple Arora, research scholar, Amity University, Haryana. The co-author of the paper is Dr. Pooja Rana, and the title of the presentation is Impact of Social Media on PR Industry in India.
Hi, good morning to all the dignitaries. This is Dimple Arora, associated with the Department of Journalism and Mass Communication of Kasturiram College of Higher Education, IP University, India. Also a research scholar of Amity University, Haryana, India, pursuing my PhD under the guidance of Dr. Pooja Rana, and Dr. Manasvi Maheshwari is my co-guide from DME. I really feel delighted to be a part of ICAN5. So the topic that I'm going to present today is the impact of social media on PR industry. So this is the introduction. If we talk about
you, ma'am, can you please put a presentation on presentation mode?
Just a second, let me try. Yeah. Could you please help me from where I can do it?
मैम नीचे लास्ट में देखिए जहां से हम स्क्रॉल करके जूम करते हैं ना आपके सामने कुछ हाँ जी नीचे जी yes yes thank you so much ma'am.
All right. If we talk about a few years back when there was no emergence of social media, so PR practitioners had only an option to obtain that is traditional media for practicing the PR activities, like PR activities like audience reach, client servicing, media relations, for handling the media relations, for internal and external communication, and for all the PR activities that they do. But after the emergence of social media, it is seen that yes, there is a drastically change in the working criteria of the PR practitioners in the PR industry. So these are the objectives that I have set for my research. Number one is to study the impact of social media on the PR industry, to examine the changes in the functioning of the PR industry after the adoption of social media, as I told you earlier. Third is to study the dependence of PR practitioners on social media. Here I really wanted to check right? Like, do they rely on the social media now along with the traditional media after the emergence of social media? And to find out the most frequent used social media platform by PR professionals. Like, we have a lot of different platforms of social media. Now I need to find out which one is that platform that is being used by the PR practitioners. So here I have reviewed so many literatures. This is a book. The title of the book is Public Relations for You, A Guide to PR Theory and Practices. The author is Suresh Kaur. In this book, in the chapter 7, it is clearly mentioned, yes, social media is being used for the PR activities, but Facebook and blogs or YouTube are the famous platforms that are being used by the PR practitioners. This is the literature that I have reviewed. The title is How Web 2.0 and Social Media Are Changing Public Relation Practitioners' Work. It was a qualitative study. Here it is also proof that yes, PR practitioners have changed their working criteria after the adoption of social media. This is another literature, an exploratory study on usage of social media by PR practitioners for media relations. This study also revealed that yes, social media is so helpful for maintaining the media relations, and the most favorite platform of Indian, especially Indian PR practitioners, is Facebook. They have been using Facebook, followed by the WhatsApp and YouTube, and Twitter is that less used platform by the PR practitioners. Another paper I have reviewed, Public Relations, Scope and Challenges in Digital Era. It was written in the 2015. This paper says that time PR practitioners was learning to adopt the social media at that time, but now it is 2022 going. Now they have clearly adopted the social media for practicing the PR activities. Another literature review, is social media good for the public relation profession? A critical reflection. So this paper had this paper has made my vision clear. Yes, the use of social media has been increased after the emergence of social media by the PR practitioners, because they are using the social media, in fact, the different platforms of social media for practicing the PR activities. Another literature I have reviewed, social media challenges and adoption patterns among public relation practitioners. I found this paper so relevant for my study, for this paper especially, because it really helped me a lot. It was a well-written paper related to my study. It was quite similar to my topic. It clearly says that yes, PR practitioners are using social media and they also rely on it along with the traditional media for practicing the PR activities. Another literature, a study of PR practitioners' use of social media tools in Cyprus. This paper was written in the year 2040. It was based on survey method. This paper also considered, yes, PR practitioners use social media for practicing the PR activities, and it helps in direct communication with the clients and with the audience. Another literature, paper title, Public Relations and Media, a look at how new media has impacted today practices of public relations. The finding says that yes, the practicing of public relations has been drastically changes after the new media and social media, and it has given a great impact to PR practitioners as well. Literature review, again, how European PR practitioners handle digital and social media. Here, I must say European PR practitioners uses videos, web blogs, micro blogs, and Twitter for practicing the PR activities. This is the research design and methodology that I have used for this paper. This research was exploratory and descriptive in nature, and I have gone through various literatures, books, as it was based on secondary data. So I have reviewed publications, websites, books, journals, and articles. Thank you. Thank you all for your valuable time. Now I welcome the questions. Thank you.
So she has sent good wishes to each and every participant of this presentation, and Dimple ma'am, Yasmeen ma'am has shared that your presentation is very good and relevant with the topic of this technical session, and she congratulated each and every participant of this technical session. Thank you so much. Congratulations to all the participants. We will be announcing the best paper award of this technical session 5 in the next technical session. And the next technical session is in physical mode. We are conducting this technical session in our campus, that is DME Media School. And the chairperson of the next technical session is Dr. Kiran Bala, former Dean and Professor, School of Journalism and Mass Communication, KR Mangalam University, Gurugram, Haryana. The topic of the next technical session is media convergence and contemporary health and socio-political issues. After the technical session 4, at 2:30 p.m., we will be having the online session, the panel discussion, and the moderator of the panel discussion is Dr. Mathili Ganju from Manav Rachna University, and the panelists of the panel discussion are Dr. Geeta Bamzai, Mosmi Chatterjee, Dr. Kulveen Trehan, and Dr. Padma Rani. So stay in touch with us. Now I request Professor Dr. Susmita Bala to please address the gathering with her concluding remarks of this technical session.
So thank you, Manmeet. Thanks, Dr. Yasmeen, Suleiman, Farooqui, for sparing time for us. This session on effects of social media on youth, image building, and influencer marketing has brought before us thought-provoking content. We all understand the impact that internet has brought to our lives, and social media particularly has permeated deep into even every activity that we do. The papers presented in this session basically role of social media in enhancing spiritual values, rebellious communication on social media, effect on teenage relationship. Nice papers, nice presentation. All of you done very good job, very good work. The papers presented in this session helped us in understanding how social media is affecting our relationships and how it has contributed to thought enrichment. Thanks to Dr. Yasmeen again for sharing this session and by providing valuable input to paper presenters. Thanks to all the paper presenters and thanks to all of you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Dr. Yasmeen has just sent me a WhatsApp message to all the presenters. I would like to conclude the session with her message. I am delighted to be the part of such conference. The topics being presented pertain to the current issues and signifying their importance in the modern era. I congratulate all the presenters presenting their papers today. Thank you, Yasmeen ma'am. Thank you so much. Now I request Ayush Sharma to extend vote of thanks. Before that, I would like to announce the best paper presenter of technical session 4, which was held in the evening yesterday. And the chairperson of the technical session was Ms. Shashwati Talukdar. The best paper was Feminist Messages in Guru Dutt's Kagaz Ke Phool, 1959, a thematic and didactic case study by Sunayan Bhattacharya ji. He is the Associate Professor, Department of Journalism and Mass Communication, School of Media and Communication, Adamas University, Kolkata. So congratulations, sir. So over to you, Ayush.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I express my foremost and heartfelt thanks to the session expert to share valuable insight about the theme. Sincere thanks to the management of DME, Aman Sani, Vice Chairman, Justice Bhanwar Singh, Director General, Professor Dr. Ravikant Swami, Director, for their support in every endeavor being taken by the DMA Media School. Heartfelt thanks to the Dean Media School, Professor Dr. Amrit Saxena, and Head Media School, Professor Dr. Susmita Bala, for their motivation in planning, executing the flagship events of Media School. Thanks to Dr. Manasvi Maheshwari, Associate Professor and Associate Convener of ICAN5, for the overall coordination of the International Media Conference. Thanks to Sumantra Sarthidas and Vishal Sahai, Assistant Professor, and Yogesh Sharma, Faculty at Media School, for digital and production support for ICAN5. Thanks to Dr. Manmeet Kaur, Associate Professor and Academic Coordinator at DMA Media School, and Pramod Kumar Pandey, Assistant Professor, for their efforts in supporting ICAN5. Thanks to Shruti VS, Assistant Professor Media School, for managing the technical and cultural team along with the student coordinations. Mohit Kamal and Sukriti Arora, Assistant Professor for Newsletter, Press Briefings and Media Coordination Support. Dr. Ritika Saxena, Assistant Professor for Designing and Creative Support. Saima Parvez and Dr. Sumeda for their support with the social media management. I also thank Pawan Saxena, Anmol Mehta, Tulika Arora, CM Anand, Abhishek Yadav, and Jagan for administrative and logistics support. Student convener Priya Yadav for her consistent support in ICAN5. All student coordinators from the newsletter, production, hospitality, anchoring, cultural, and digital operations for their coordination and consistent effort for the conference. Thanks to all the researchers, participants who have sent their full research paper for this international media conference and participants of various sessions. Special thanks to our conference partners, knowledge partners, international partners, culture partners, and media partners.